Really? A lot of you, as usual, are expecting something chipper or funny from me. I want to make it very clear that this is a video expressing grievances, and I will not be incredibly kind. I'll try not to be disparaging, but I don't know. I don't know. I am distraught. And don't go attacking developers, because nobody screws up like this on purpose. I'm sure they're already aware of it, and they don't feel great. I know I'm supposed to be the positive guy, but you can go ahead and consider this a gap in the armor. I am absolutely speaking out of an emotional perspective here, despite the lack of emphasis in my voice, but that's honestly just because I'm tired. I'm not sleepy, but I'm exhausted. I should shut up, but you know, I'm livid right now because they did it again. The last time this happened was riding high and then getting shot down by the PlayStation account requirement. This is not nearly that bad, but it's not good. I knew I shouldn't have said anything. I made a little joke, like, hey, make sure you keep it all together while I'm away. The game's perfectly fixed when I leave. I left for a day. I come back, smoldering car wreck. I have had a better experience getting punched directly in the teeth. Don't worry, I still won and left with $1,000,000 smile in comparison with 5 singular missions today. Yesterday, rather, at the time of recording. If you think I'm being overdramatic, sit and watch. If you are a regular here, you know it takes a pair of pliers and a hot poker to the eye to get me to say something truly negative about this game. But today is the day. For those of you that are confused, don't worry, I'll key you in. And nothing that happened can't be fixed, but it's... God, it's upsetting that it happened to begin with. We received an absolute banger of a patch after months worth of work from our great developers. And some people may disagree, but I really do think they're great at what they do for what they've been given. We also got handed a pretty well-rounded warbond out of the deal. But neither of those were the most important thing. We were gifted with a sense of assurance. We were provided for a split second a feeling that we were on the right track and things were finally going to be okay. The cooling wave of reinstated faith in the product, accompanied by the collective sigh of relief, was a godsend to the community. Then, as if from a dream, 3 days later, we get a new mission type, and at this point, we don't think life can get better, because this is boding well, everything's fantastic. The game that we paid money for finally works. There's no stick-in-the-mud meta complaints. The majority of the items feel good and useful. Everyone is able to start carving out their own identity and playstyle. And it's just capital. But then we got into that new mission, and then we woke up. The breath of fresh air was driven from our lungs by a thunderous punch to the diaphragm. It turns out all those quality of life changes were for naught. As soon as this new mission entered the fold, a lot of those changes have seemed to just gone straight into the trash. Now, you may say I'm being too harsh in my phrasing, and to you, sir or madam, I say, but wait, there's more. I played 5, count them, 5 matches. The first one was horrific, and they somehow found a way to get compoundingly worse. This isn't me yelling into a bucket about something that's clearly a skill issue either, like enemy density. Look, I'll give you an example. A skill issue problem would be something like complaining when you're mobbed by enemies for shitty positioning. A game problem is chargers being able to tap strafe, and the ground at intermediate points throughout the match ceasing to exist beneath your feet. Actually, I'll give you everything I can remember that happened. The Pelican landed, fell through the map, denied us extraction, and then it just took off hundreds of feet below the surface of the map. I entered the Pelican and got killed by a Bile Titan swinging its leg through the completely enclosed side of it. Several instances of chargers being treated as environmental structures, trapping my body within them. Even a case where I watched one spawn out of thin air on top of me, getting me stuck in its leg armor, and then just ragdolling me inside of its leg armor until I died. My friends getting sent back to their ship nearly a dozen times in a single game, with no common denominator between either of them and a completely stable connection. On top of that, they did not disconnect a single time in any of the other games. Well over a dozen instances of hell pods punching all of 50 feet deep into terrain and then releasing the occupant under the map. Only one player being granted access to reinforcements while the other two are unable to ever return. I hadn't experienced an issue in well over a dozen hours playing under the patch that actually fixed things. And I want to make that clear. That patch fixed a ton. It did God's work. You were doing great. But all of this happened every single game for 5 games. Look, I know I have bad luck, but it ain't that bad. Some ham-fisted, hatchet-headed fuckstick broke something again right in the middle of the victory lap. Sorry, I wasn't gonna be mean. You're at worst a dipshit, whoever you are. Better? Better. Cool. Was it an accident? Most assuredly, I have no doubt. Does that fact make it acceptable? No. No, I don't think it does, and here's why. They had a fixed game at long last with no visible issues rearing their heads. Nothing had to be added in. They had bought themselves a significant amount of goodwill with the fans, me included, and they could have taken all the time in the world to plan the next move. They could have crossed every T and dotted every I to make sure this wasn't going to destroy their hard work. They made a point to tell us all about how much they want communication and all this playtesting being done, and then this. A rushed out, half-assed mission which could be really fun and work great, but instead, it just cracked the game open, overshadowing all the great work from the devs. I don't buy that these issues were bad luck, and that they were present when the patch originally hit, because to me, that patch made the game feel better than it ever had. The only difference between then and now is this mission in particular, so I have to assume it is the problem. It's a damn shame. It's a damn shame because they had finally hit their stride, and they did it just in time to trip over an old, vaulted piece of content that hadn't been brought in with the changes they made. I'm not mad, but I am equal parts disappointed and disheartened at this point, and I don't know what else I'm supposed to be. Because I try to be as hopeful as I can, but sometimes something hits and it just rips that hope straight out of your chest. I am sorry to the developers that I am digging in like this. I really am. I don't like to do it. And I don't intend for it to be a regular occurrence. Scratch that. It will not be a regular occurrence. Better? Better. Ranting once every 5 months doesn't seem that egregious compared to how much other people do it on a daily or weekly basis. But I don't know what else to do. I don't know who else to point the finger at here. And like I said, yeah, mistakes happen, but you could have let a sleeping dog lie. You had the win. You did not have to fumble this. You could have just let it ride out for a while, really worked on these things, and then released them. Because I assure you, that's far better than dropping this in and just having it skullfuck all the hard work that you put in to make this game good. Making a mission difficult is one thing, but introducing a mission that sends shockwaves of bugs and glitches, that feels terrible. And terrible in a way where we are powerless to do anything other than cross our fingers and hope that we don't get hit with the same problem twice. It got to the point that after my second game, I felt the need to keep my recording software on because there was practically an assurance that I could expect an excess of issues completely out of our control. Do I still have love for this game? Yes, I absolutely do. It'd be ridiculous to say otherwise. Am I going to keep playing it? Yes. Yes, I absolutely am. But I'm going to come back to it after a day or so because I can't play a game where I have to brace myself for some cataclysmic event on every single mission that I have no influence on. As much as I hate to say that, what would you do in this circumstance? And is anybody else mired with these problems as of just a day ago? Because I've been hearing others share this same sentiment. Look, I think that's all I've got in me today, lest people start running in calling me a doomer, which, will probably happen anyway. But if you're playing, look, all I hope is that you have a better go about it than I do. And you go ahead, have a good night.